Fourth Sunday of Lent, ye letare Sunday, the second scrutiny, March 15, 2025. My dear brothers and sisters, if I may begin with something that is very practical and a simple experience we all know. Have you ever walked into a very dark room and tried to find your way around? The lights are off. You stretch out your hands so you don't bump into something. You move slowly, carefully, because you are not sure what is in front of you. But the moment someone turns on the light, everything changes. Suddenly you can see clearly. You know where you are going. The fear and the confusion disappears. Light changes everything. And that is why the theme of light runs through all our readings today. Today the church celebrates the fourth Sunday of Lent. Also, this is the Sunday for second scrutiny. The fourth Sunday of Lent, also known as Letare Sunday. The word letare means rejoice. In the middle of our Lenten journey, the church invites us to pause and rejoice. Because Easter is getting closer. The light of Christ is already beginning to shine through the darkness. In today's gospel, we hear the powerful story of a man who was blind from birth. Imagine what that must have been like to be blind from birth. This man had never seen the sunrise. He had never seen the sky. He had never seen the colors of the world, or even the faces of the people around him. His entire life had been lived in darkness, and in those days people often believed that if someone suffered like this, it must be because of sin. So not only was he blind, but he was also judged and rejected. But when Jesus sees him, Jesus does something very different. Jesus does not blame him. Jesus does not walk past him. Jesus stops. He approaches him, he touches him, and Jesus heals him. Suddenly, the man who had lived his entire life in darkness begins to see. Imagine that moment. The first time he saw the sunlight, the first time he saw people standing around him, his loved ones, his friends. Perhaps even the first time he saw the face of Jesus. It must have been overwhelming. But the miracle in this gospel is not about physical sight. It is also about spiritual sight. After the man is healed, something surprising happens. Instead of celebrating the miracle, the religious leaders begin questioning him. They are upset because the healing took place on the Sabbath. Think about that for a moment. The man who had been blind his whole life can now see, and instead of rejoicing, they start arguing about rules. Their problem was not that their eyes could not see. Their problem was that their hearts were closed. And so we see a powerful contrast in the gospel. The man who was physically blind begins to see more clearly. not only with his eyes, but also with his faith. At first, he says, the man called Jesus healed me. And later he says, he must be a prophet. And finally, when Jesus meets him again, he says those beautiful words, Lord, I believe. Meanwhile, the people who think they see clearly become spiritually blind. Our first reading teaches a similar lesson. When the prophet Samuel is sent to choose a king from among the sons of Jesse, he looks first at the strongest and the most impressive one, very human-like. But God tells him something very important. Man sees the appearance, but the Lord looks into the heart. We often focus on outward appearances, how people look, what they have, and how successful they seem, but God sees deeper. God sees the heart. So, my brothers and sisters, this message speaks to our lives as well. Sometimes we think we see clearly, but spiritually we can still be blind. We may fail to notice God working in our lives. We may overlook the needs of people around us. We may fail to recognize how much we ourselves need God's mercy. That is why Lent is such an important season. Lent is a time when Christ wants to open our eyes again. That through prayer we begin to see God more clearly in our lives. Through fasting, we let go of the things that distract us and cloud our vision. And through almsgiving, we begin to see others suffering with compassion. Little by little, Christ heals our spiritual blindness. St. Paul reminds us in the second reading that once we lived in darkness, but now we are called to live as children of the light. What does it mean to live as children of the light? It means allowing Christ's light to shine through the way we live. When we choose kindness instead of anger, we bring light. When we forgive someone who hurt us, we bring light. When we help someone who is struggling, we bring light. When we stand for truth and goodness, we bring light. Even a small light can change a dark place. Think of one candle in a dark church or room or place. It may be small, but it still pushes back the darkness. That is what happens when we allow Christ to walk in us. My brothers and sisters, the journey of the man born blind is also our journey. Before we encounter Christ, we are all in some way walking in darkness. But when Christ touches our lives, we begin to see differently. We begin to see God's presence. We begin to see others with compassion. We begin to see our lives through the lens of faith and gratitude. Unlike the man in today's gospel, we are invited to say those simple but powerful words. I was once blind, but now I see. As we continue our Lenten journey towards Easter, let us ask the Lord to open our eyes. May He help us see His presence in our lives. May He help us see the needs of our brothers and sisters. And may He help us truly live as children of the light. And when Christ's light fills our hearts, we will walk with joy towards the celebration of Easter. Amen. Have a glorious Sunday.